Welcome, everyone, to our Aging and Spirituality podcast. And this is where we really like to talk about how to live your best life from what is not yet realized. If you haven't done it, let's talk about how we can get it done. Today, I'm going to talk about yoga. Success in yoga requires development. And that's kind of the theme of the subject today. And we're going to also talk about how meditation opens the door to that kind of personal growth. So I'm Kathy Lee Taylor, and my co-host is
Chris Jensen.
Welcome, everyone. You're so glad you're here.
We are so happy you're here.
Yeah. So why would we want to upgrade our character, and why is that essential to your practice of yoga? And the answer is because you don't get the benefits of yoga if you don't work with your character. So let's talk about just a few minutes. What are some of the benefits that I'm talking about? Well, to begin with, if you're interested in self-realization, this is the road to be on. Do you want to have an ongoing sense of peace and joy? Have abundance in all things in your life, not just money, abundance in all other different kinds of ways. Use of your inner power is probably one of my favorites, and better relationships. Those are just some of the things that I thought on the top of my head. These are the things that yoga can give to you in your life. So if they interest you at all, this conversation about how to develop your character is going to be really powerful for you and really give you a lot of help. The thing is, so character development happens because we come into life and we're basically living through a consciousness that we're born with, and we're sailing along, really doing it by trial and error. We don't know. Nobody told us any different. Pretty normal to just do what seems normal to do in your life with the consciousness that's going on. But the downside of that is that you're often creating karmas that you're going to have to answer to down the road when you're doing unkind things, mean things, wrong things, things that don't be the word connect with the universal laws. Then real growth really takes longer. So the practice of yoga helps you shorten that time span of growth to get to a place where you can live in a much more harmonious and balanced state. So, okay, so when you're practicing yoga, you're going to begin to understand that what you're doing really is planting better seeds. Instead of being a jerk, you choose to be kind.
No one wants to be a jerk.
Nobody wants to be a jerk, but except
I know it sometimes.
pissed off or they're angry or they're expressing their own jerk feelings. Jerk feels pretty good sometimes. But it costs you in the long run, and that's what you really want to look at. Is you want to be able to plant seeds that are going to reap you way better outcomes, way better things that life has to offer. And it takes some work to do that. It takes some practice of yoga to really understand how that works. So your character develops really when you start releasing these habitual responses. What feels normal to you to do in response to somebody else saying something, doing something, a situation in the world, whatever it is that's going on in your life that's triggering you. So instead of being judgmental and unkind, you're going to learn how to respond to challenges much more with love and gratitude and those kinds of feelings. And that may seem a little odd at first when you think about that, but the bottom line is you do have the choice. And the quality of your life is really going to be based on the right choices made, because you won't be racking up a lot of karmas. You'll be in an entirely different space where you're putting out energy that's not only beneficial for yourself, but for everybody that you come in contact with. So you're really becoming a vehicle of service, a vessel of service in that way. And that's the yogic path, a yogic path, I should say. So what are some of the character traits that need to be outlifted? When I say to you, your character may need some development, you may be coming up with a blank slate. You may think, oh, I'm just the way I am. I'm good. I've been doing this my whole life. And I've told the story many times that when I first walked into the yoga center and listened to a few lessons and, really started to understand what was going on and realized what a streak of arrogance I had running in my life. It was just, that was my main character development area, I had to look at where I felt like I either lead, follow, or get out of my way. Like
That's
that's
a big shocker for everyone, I think, because you're not alone. Almost everybody.
You think everybody that comes in is that a big one in the yoga center?
A very big one, because we don't realize how arrogant we are until we come face to face with it like that.
Okay, so listeners, chalk that, put a tick on that one, and listen, you might have that one. So here we go. We're going to just talk about some of the really common ones, and these are actually coming from ancient writings of somebody who was a master of yoga who was called Patanjali. His work is called the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So this is a book that you can easily get Amazon, wherever, online, and very valuable to read. So we both would highly recommend having a copy of it. So, okay, so here are some of the things you can think about that you can strive to become. And as you're listening to them, think to yourself, how am I currently responding to these kinds of situations in my life? And just write down the ones where you think, oh, I might have to take a look here.
Might be worthwhile just taking a look.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody's there in your house looking. We don't know. Just be honest with yourself. So, first one is we have to learn to become nonviolent. Nothing good is ever achieved by anger. It's one that I think about often. And of course, the last how many years now has been people really experiencing this over and over again without stopping even a second to think what is going on here. Like, we cannot solve a problem with this kind of reaction. This is a really big one right now. So nonviolence, a lot of Buddhists teach this to children, don't kill bugs. You see little stories about that where they learn at very young age, to respect and love every creature outside of themselves on the planet. So that's the idea. Gandhi talked about what's the word I'm looking for? I want to say ahimsa. Is that right?
Ahimsa, yes.
Nonviolence. Okay. So okay, so the next one is you'll have to know the truth. We must also know and love the truth of this world. Its universal laws is how it really works. So when you're practicing yoga, you start to understand what is a truth in the world, and that's a very personal journey. But when you're connected to the truth, you won't be suffering. You'll be much more in flow with the inner self and the right connection that you need to live a good life.
And you'll be amazed at the goodness that comes your way when you live from a place of truth and nonviolence.
Yes, please pop in at any time, Chris, when I'm talking about these, because I know, have lots of ideas that I probably won't address. So the next one is stop stealing, whether it's material things or even someone else's ideas and work. That's a real character issue and has a lot of play in a place where money is a big factor. And it's one where only you know if you're stealing on any level. And it's one that you personally have to really look in the mirror and go, I'm not going to do that anymore, no matter what. I didn't have trouble with that one. That seemed to be baked into me when I was born. And I was never interested in having something that was not mine. So that wasn't one that I've had to really work on, but a lot of people do. So the next one is we must learn to see others as souls, not just bodies. He calls it non-sensuality. This is a big one too. I can't say I did that when I was younger, but certainly as I got older, it was like, what a relief, to be able to let go of that idea that, a person is just how they look. It's so limiting and really kind of obnoxious, kind of glad I got past that one. Non-greed is another way of character development. Like, how much stuff do we really need? Saying you can't have a house and goodies that you love and that kind of stuff. But I personally know people that buy stuff just to put them in boxes. Like, do we really need all of that stuff? I don't think so. So that's another area of character development. We also want to live with a pure mind. That was thunder. Did you hear that?
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, we got thunder and lightning going on here, folks.
I heard it earlier.
We also want to live with a pure mind and heart that is content and full of gratitude. We are just happy to be who we are and grow from where we are. That one right there, if you can work on that and feel that way regularly, so much of your life will be freed up to be able to be more joyful and peaceful. That one causes people a lot of stress. So I think that's a big one on the list. Self-discipline is also something that most of us need to learn and implement. Um, I was a real A-type personality, so self-discipline wasn't difficult for me. So, that's to say that some of these things will apply to you and some of them won't. Just work on the ones that do and never mind about the other ones.
Mhm.
And then one more, and that is to live like you understand that humanity is one, that you recognize the soul in everybody and see God everywhere. This is definitely a universal truth, and it will definitely up level your consciousness and allow you to live in an entirely different way than likely you are experiencing at the moment. So, what's the good news? That's not bad. Anything I said is not bad, I mean, we all have to work on ourselves, right? So the good news is when you're planting new seeds, you're changing your old habits and you're going to receive new results in your life. And when this happens, it's very satisfying and very fulfilling when you see it working in your own life. Wouldn't you say, Chris? Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's, there's so much more joy and upliftment and the ability that yoga is called skill in action. And when you let go of these character flaws, everything you do is done better. It's done with much more focus and love behind it.
no doubt.
No.
So here's a little exercise for you. I'm just going to throw this out now. So um, think about in your own life where your focus goes for the most part during your day. If you just wake up, from the time that you get up, the time you go to sleep, where is your mind dwelling most of the time? Are you worrying? Are you suffering? Are you battling with the ego over its wants and needs? Are you struggling about making decisions? Where, how much of that is going on and how much is joyful, peaceful, happy gratitude?
Mhm.
You know, try to take a level of what's going on both ways there, because the ego is really your false sense of self, and you want to get to a place where it's not dominating and taking over your mind. So let's think about, I'm going to give you one question. What is the one thing, after listening to all of those ideas of how to develop your character, what is the one thing that you would really love to work on right now? The one that jumps out at you at most, that you think, oh yeah, I've been doing that my whole life. I want to change that, because that would be the best place to start. So you can learn how to do this, how to really up level your character, how to learn to release and surrender the things that you don't want to have in your life anymore, and how to encourage and nurture the ones that you do. So think about that. We can't hear your answer here, but we're going to go ahead and talk about, no matter what one you chose, no matter what one you think you want to work on in your character, the way to transform it is you're going to learn to meditate. Big surprise. So so let me just try to make this as simple as I can in terms of meditation. If you were going to buy a new car, right, what would be the best thing you'd want to know about how it feels to drive? You go take a test drive, right? You go drive the car and see what it feels like to drive, which I recently just did. It's very fun. So when you want to know how it feels to discriminate between the ego and the soul messages, you can test drive that process through meditation. Pretty cool analogy, right? So with enough progress in meditation, everything that you want to know will be revealed to you. So surely you have 15 minutes a day to sit down and experience the benefits of transformation that's going to last a lifetime. And it's
One
not
thing I want to say about character flaws, when you
okay.
first see that, what you want to do is, just accept yourself where you are and go from there. Don't start beating up on yourself or say, I should be this or I should be that. It's very important to say, okay, this is where I am, and then be open to growth and transformation from there.
Right. Good point. And if you notice that you're judging yourself, that needs to be transformed first.
Right. And yeah, right there. That's number one.
That's the big one that jumps out because most of us have done that most of
Right.
our life because that's what we were taught.
Mm.
You got to start with self-care when it comes to that. So great point, Chris. Okay, so I'm going to do a little funny part here because I'm in my mind, I'm hearing the naysayers, the ones that are so skeptical about what meditation can do for you. And, why should I practice meditation after 60 years old? Well, the truth is, that's the best damn time in your life to be practicing meditation. If you haven't done it till now, get on it, like TikTok. You have to get started when it comes to being a meditator. So I wanted to just give you some of the contrarian types of ideas that I hear about meditations and that I get questions about it, and they're kind of funny. So I'm going to say what the contrary take is on meditation, and then I'm going to say what the reality is or what I think the reality is. I will definitely own that. So number one, meditation is not a panacea for all problems. That's right. It's not. But you will be less stressed because your response to life changes for the good.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Right? You can jump in, Chris, if you want to add anything to these contrary ideas, because you're a lifetime meditation teacher. You probably heard them all.
Yeah, I have.
Meditation is not for everyone. Well, if you find meditation bores the crap out of you, consider you might still be in your mind and haven't experienced meditation yet.
Yeah, you're not really meditating yet.
You're not really meditating. Number three, meditation is challenging to learn. Okay, it takes time to practice being still, but with a little effort every day, patience and commitment, you're going to begin to understand how it all works.
Right. 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
You're amazed at the changes that occur.
Yes, for untold benefits that it brings. Meditation is expensive. Find a teacher on YouTube that feels comfortable for you and sit your butt down every day. It doesn't cost a damn cent. Doesn't have to. Or go to the yoga center online and learn it there. That's one of the best places.
It's free. Yeah. Kathy teaches a meditation class at Yoga Center online classes. It's free.
Try not to push those, but it's there. So go.
I'm not pushing it. I'm just saying,
I know you're not.
It's not going to cost them anything. So
exactly, it's not going to cost them a cent, and you can come and play and have fun online. Meditation is a distraction from real problems. Nonsense. When you learn to meditate,
about reality.
when you learn to meditate and connect with your inner self, you can deal with the real problems better than ever. I love that one. That's so funny to me. Meditation leads to self-absorption. What self are you referring to?
If you're talking about the true self, the inner self.
Yeah, meditation helps you distinguish between the soul and the ego. And the ego could be absorbed unhelpfully, but when you recognize how it fools you, then you can choose the soul path.
Yep.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. Okay, here's number 7. Meditation is a form of spiritual bypassing. What a crock. You can be the best meditator in the world, and pain and suffering is likely still part of your experience. What it does is it helps you deal with the world in a way that brings back balance quickly into your life. Put your back on the spiritual path right away instead of struggling for long periods of time. I have fun with these. Meditation can be a form of self-control addiction. What? So if someone can't stop,
it's hard to come up with that one.
That's a good. If you can't stop meditating, well, maybe you belong in a monastery. I don't know. That's like crazy. Most of us are really learning meditation to deal with life more harmoniously. So that's kind of a fun one that I like to point out. Number 9, meditation is a form of spiritual materialism. I hear a lot of this from the younger generation, and it's nonsense. Meditation doesn't give you special powers. It shows you how to balance body, mind, and spirit so you can live a life that is much more joyful, more peaceful, and stress-free. Okay, there's nothing woo-woo about it. There's nothing weird about it. Okay, number 10, for those of you that are get weary of my contrarian ideas. These are questions we have to deal with all the time about meditation. Number 10 is meditation is a waste of time. Only if you're doing it wrong. If your mind is telling you this message, I would tell you to tell it to take a hike. Get back to learning how to transcend your mind and emotions. Practice, practice, practice every day. It's the most amazing.
It'll be the most valuable thing you do.
It will. Okay, so all right, that was probably crushing for some people, but boy, it's great to get the ideas out. I know that a lot of the younger generation that is just learning about meditation really believes some of this stuff, so it's important to understand the reality of what meditation is and what it can bring in your life. Okay, so let's work on improving our character and enjoying life the best we can. Please go and visit our YouTube channel and like and subscribe so we can reach more people. Anything else you want to say?
No, I think it's great. Just try it. You'll like it.
You'll like it. Guess we
Yes.
told you. See you next week, everyone. Thanks for
Bye.
coming.